exploring the top 10 whitest states in America beyond the numbers. In this video, we'll explore a fascinating and sometimes complex topic, the top 10 whitest states in America. By delving into their racial demographics, historical context, and social dynamics, we aim to provide a deeper understanding of these regions and their evolving diversity. Using maps, statistics, and expert commentary, we'll uncover how history and contemporary trends shape the cultural makeup of these states, discussing the challenges faced by minority communities and the broader implications for diversity and inclusion. Let's get started. Before we dive into the list, let's take a moment to understand why analyzing racial demographics is important. Demographics give us insight into the composition of different communities and their cultures, revealing how history, migration patterns, and policy decisions have shaped the places we live today. When we say whitest states, we're referring to states with the highest percentage of white residents compared to other racial groups. This is not just about numbers, it's about understanding the dynamics of these communities and acknowledging the lived experiences of everyone within them. Now let's uncover the top 10 whitest states in America. Before diving into each one, keep in mind that our goal is to explore the historical and cultural forces that have shaped these demographics beyond just the percentages. Maps and visuals will help illustrate these trends. This Great Plains state is known for its rural expanses and agriculture-based economy. In Nebraska, white residents make up a significant proportion of the population, with minority communities mostly concentrated in urban centers like Omaha and Lincoln. Maine, situated in the northeastern tip of the country, has long been regarded as one of the least racially diverse states. The state's geographic isolation and historical migration trends have contributed to its high percentage of white residents. New Hampshire. Neighboring Maine, New Hampshire is another New England state where white residents comprise the vast majority. The state's rural character and low overall population also play a role in its racial homogeneity. Located in the heart of the Midwest, Iowa's demographics have been shaped by historical immigration patterns, particularly from European countries. Its farming-based economy and smaller urban areas continue to influence settlement trends. As a small New England state with a population that prioritizes environmentalism and small-town living, Vermont also has a predominantly white population. Its rural landscapes and small cities contribute to its demographic stability. Moving west, we find Montana, a state defined by its breathtaking natural beauty and sparse population. Native American communities are prominent in Montana, but white residents still represent a large majority overall. North Dakota has long been connected to its agricultural roots and smaller urban centers. Immigration from Scandinavian and German settlers historically defined its racial makeup, although indigenous populations also play an important part in the state's cultural heritage. As one of the least populous states in the nation, Wyoming's wide open spaces and rural character contribute to its primarily white demographic. Small Native American communities, as well as growing Latinx populations, are present but remain underrepresented statistically. West Virginia. Known as a coal mining hub, West Virginia's history and economy have been shaped by predominantly white laborers. Its Appalachian geography and economic challenges have also influenced migration patterns. Maine takes the top spot as the whitest state in America. With upwards of 92% of the population identifying as white, Maine's demographics are a result of historical settlement patterns and its geographic position. Despite increasing efforts to promote diversity, the state remains one of the least racially diverse in the nation. Why do these states have such high concentrations of white populations? The explanation lies in historical migration patterns, settlement trends, and economic factors. During the 18th and 19th centuries, many of these regions were settled by European immigrants, particularly from countries such as Germany, Ireland, England, and Scandinavia. With economies often rooted in farming, mining, or or small manufacturing industries, these states historically attracted fewer minority populations than industrial urban centers in other parts of the country. Additionally, geographic isolation, such as with New England states like Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, limited integration with broader migration trends. It's also important to acknowledge how systemic barriers, such as segregation policies and discriminatory housing practices, influenced migration patterns long after slavery was abolished. These barriers often prevented minority groups from moving to or thriving in certain regions. While the statistics point to a high proportion of white residents in these states, it's equally vital to consider the stories of minority communities living there. Many of these communities play an essential role in enriching the cultural landscape of these areas, even while navigating unique challenges. For instance, smaller urban areas in states like Iowa and Nebraska have seen gradual growth in immigrant populations, particularly from Latin America and Africa. However, these individuals often face barriers such as limited access to representation, economic opportunities, and culturally relevant support systems. In states like Montana and North Dakota, indigenous communities have deep historical ties to the land. These groups have worked to preserve their heritage and traditions while advocating for long overdue recognition and rights in regions that are often dominated by non-native influences. The demographic makeup of these states raises important questions about diversity and inclusion. Regions with high percentages of white residents often face challenges in fostering multicultural understanding and embracing different perspectives. This can affect everything from policy decisions to community interactions and even educational curriculums. On the other hand, even the least diverse states are not static. Many are seeing gradual increases in minority populations due to immigration, education opportunities, and economic shifts. As these changes occur, it offers an opportunity to create more inclusive environments that celebrate and integrate diversity into local traditions. Despite the challenges, there are many examples of positive change. Local governments and organizations are committed to fostering inclusivity, whether through anti-discrimination policies, community outreach events, or educational initiatives. For example, in Vermont, an initiative called Building Bridges works to create multicultural dialogues, encouraging neighbors to share and learn from one another. Similarly, programs in Nebraska have helped immigrant families find support systems and educational resources, ensuring they feel welcomed into their new communities. Groups advocating for indigenous rights in Montana continue to push for greater recognition and access to resources, preserving the cultural legacy of Native communities while challenging systemic inequities. To provide a well-rounded perspective, let's look to insights from sociologists and demographers. Many experts note that America's demographic landscape is constantly evolving. While the states mentioned may currently have high white populations, trends such as increasing immigration and younger, more diverse generations are likely to shift these numbers over time. Experts also emphasize the importance of understanding the past to address present-day disparities. Historical factors that shaped population patterns, such as discriminatory policies, must be acknowledged and rectified to move toward a more inclusive and equitable society. Discussions of racial demographics can sometimes feel sensitive or complex. It's important to address these topics with care and respect. This means acknowledging the lived experiences of minority communities while also encouraging viewers to understand the larger historical and societal forces at play. Our goal in this exploration is not to pass judgment, but to spark greater awareness. By understanding why these states have their current demographics and the evolving dynamics within them, we hope to encourage thoughtful conversations about diversity and inclusion nationwide. As we've seen throughout this video, the top 10 whitest states in America offer more than just statistics. They are shaped by deep historical trends, regional dynamics, and evolving social forces. While these states may currently lack significant racial diversity, the stories of their communities, past and present, remind us that change is always possible. From the challenges faced by minority groups to the ongoing efforts to foster inclusivity, these states are examples of how diversity and culture can enrich even the least least diverse regions. In examining these dynamics, we can all learn valuable lessons about the importance of embracing different perspectives. Ultimately, understanding demographics isn't just about numbers, it's about building bridges, fostering respect, and moving together toward a more inclusive future. Thank you for joining us on this educational journey, and we hope it has provided insights to inspire learning, understanding, and inclusivity wherever you live.